r/AskReddit, nsfw, what's the worst thing about being a man? Always being told to show our feelings more and then having them ignored or laughed at if we do. That I'm still just a little boy inside who has too many responsibilities now. Sometimes I just don't feel like being as swift as a coursing river. The worst thing for me is how people look at me when I'm around kids. My next door neighbors are lovely people and they have 3 kids. 7, 9, and 11. The kids love to play soccer or football or frisbee, and sometimes when I get home from work, I'll go outside and play with them. It takes a village and all that. They have a 5-year-old cousin who is over often. She loves to get carried around and play with the cousins. When I'm around those kids when their extended family is around, the extended family looks at me like I'm a pedophile. The kids run up and hug me and stuff and drag me outside to play with them. The scorn and disdain from the aunts and uncles is profound. And then they'll hear the kids call my name, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's you." They talk about you all the time. And it's suddenly okay. But those looks I get bug me. The initial reaction of other adults is to assume that something evil and disgusting is happening, as though their parents would just let that happen. It just sucks to work hard trying to be a good human and have people look at you like you're the lowest of the low. Edit. It makes me really happy to read all the stories of other men being good role models to kids who aren't their own. Good work, men. Having the expectation to always keep my shit together. Being vulnerable is a weakness. Failing is not an option. Provide regardless of the state of your overall health. Hair, everywhere. I mean, seriously, does it have to come out of my ears? I feel like I can't genuinely enjoy being around kids without people thinking I'm weird or a pedo. Very little bugs me the way this does. I'm a father. Apparently, that means I'm a bumbling idiot when it comes to my kid. I've changed as many diapers as her mom. I've stayed up with her all night several times. I took 3 months off work to spend time with her when she was a baby. Admittedly, I'm not great at doing hair, but I can put it in a ponytail. Fathers aren't morons when it comes to their kids. I can raise mine as well as any mom. Edit. Also, you're babysitting today when I take my daughter somewhere with me. Nope. I'm raising my kid. I'd get paid to babysit. Oh, you're giving mom a break. Nope, I just like having her with me when I do stuff. I'm sure I could use the break just as much as her mom. That no matter what we do, we're never an actual parent in other people's eyes. My family and co-workers referred to me taking care of my daughter while my wife's out of town as babysitting instead of, parenting. Mother-in-law always tried to take my daughter when she was colicky and I was holding her, like, A, it was my fault, or B, that I didn't know what I was doing. Every time I'm the one taking my daughter to functions, I get the evil eye from half the moms like I don't belong there. There's some shit dads out there, but they don't get the type of abuse as those of us who actually do the job. The stereotype that all men are pedophiles if they like working with children. Volunteered at the daycare that I went to when I was young for a field day event. One of the mothers there expressed her concern for a male being there around her kids, and word got back to me. I was pursuing a degree in early childhood EDU and dropped out and gave up on that dream because a lot of people thought I was weird or that I must be some sort of pedophile. The loneliness. Nobody takes your feelings seriously or bothers to check in on you. Having to be afraid to be around children because of the negative stigma. Edit. Holy fuck, I am so sorry for what everyone has suffered. I've read every reply and comment chain from my comment. Let's hope we can have a world where this crap doesn't exist. Edit 2. Rip my inbox. Male pattern baldness. Being seen as a pedophile. B/C. You're concerned about a kid that wandered ahead of their parents. Instead of thinking about the danger that puts the kid in, they judge the man looking at the kid. Growing up, it was expected that we were supposed to ask the ladies out. So if you found yourself as a 25-year-old virgin who'd never kissed a girl, it was obviously because you were some kind of loser. My mom died suddenly September. All I've wanted is for a friend to give me a hug and be willing to listen. My wife's girlfriends will, but none of my male friends, despite telling them I'm really hurting. Nobody is willing. It fucking sucks. Your genitals during summer. Wish they had a better design. We can't say kids are cute without being on FBI watch list. The lack of respect men receive as parent. Not being able to interact with children without fearing being called a pedo. It can be desperately lonely, especially for the introverts. Extremely weak emotional connection with male friends and peers. Hair loss. Never getting compliments. Dating and having to initiate everything with women fucking sucks. I might just say fuck it and not try to find anyone. I'm starting to think that staying single is a better life. Being short gets us the manlet label. A month ago I took my daughter to her 1-month appointment. Nurse said, "Oh, you're on dad duty today." First of all, I'm always on dad duty. Second, I take my son to 90% of his appointments. 3 fuck your. Edit, this blew up but it happens. My parents act the same way too with stuff. I aspire as a father to be like Bandit before I knew who Bandit was. The stress of providing for your family amid all the current turmoil in the world and knowing that it's all on you whether your family has a stable and financially secure life, while feeling the need to obtain a life that probably isn't realistically obtainable anymore, and every day watching the neighborhood you live in slowly get worse and know there's nothing you can do about it right now. Feeling like you can't open up because of how it always turns out, therefore bottling it inside and letting it all out at once, thereby making it even worse. And just being told, well, it will be okay. Okay, cool, sure, well, as the one that it depends on to make it okay, I kind of need to know how to do that. Edit, wow, this got quite a response. Thanks to everyone who shares this type of stress. It is hard day in and day out, but for those of us with kids and SOMs, we're doing what's arguably the cheaper alternative anyway. I just meant to highlight the pressure that does form that isn't talked about much, and I see I am not alone. So thank you all for that. I'll try to respond individually as much as I can, might be a bit though. Having no value unless we provide something, I saw the shift as I entered my teens. I wasn't a child anymore and received no sympathy or care for any of my problems. Man up or get over it when female family got lots of sympathy and understanding. Once I started earning money and could provide more, I was suddenly super popular. When my wage dropped over COVID, I was basically ignored. Learned a valuable lesson though, much more selfish now but still generous with the people that stuck by me. Sexual harassment and sexual assaults are usually a joke or not taken remotely serious when you're a guy. I've been sexually harassed and assaulted at work, and told lucky guy. Or they're old enough to be your mother, take it as a compliment as if that makes the situation better. In the end, honestly, if you're a guy and made sexually uncomfortable, it's too bad, so sad, move on. When I approached management about it, I'm just told, well, let's make it a clean slate and move on. What? They literally dry hump me? Grabbed my ass? Even when a member does it, it's just completely fine. Men aren't normally seen as victims. We're just expected to not be or to not be affected by it. Work for Costco BTW, if anyone is curious as to where this happens. Being assumed to be a predator. My job occasionally requires me to go into schools. I live in such fear of being labeled a pedophile that I refuse to use bathrooms unless they are staff only. When traversing the halls, I constantly look at the floor and require an escort anytime I have any kind of interaction with students. My company knows this, and the school personnel I interact with knows this. All it takes one incident and there will be whispers about you for life. I like to think I'm a pretty progressive guy. My GF and I have been together 5 years and have 2 children together. She makes more money 100k vs my 45k. I've always had to be more flexible in my jobs to be there to accommodate for her 12-hour shifts and get my kids to school, take care of them when she's gone, etc. By working close to home and working half days some days or coming in late and leaving early from work other days. We're now separating because she's constantly putting me down that I don't make as much money as her when I've dedicated my time to be a good father and take on more of the child care. She's now complaining that she's supporting me financially and holding her back and letting her take on all the responsibility while she literally could not do the work she does if I was not flexible in my schedule to take care of our children. It seems to me like women want praise for taking on childcare when the man makes more money, which they absolutely deserve, but it's not acceptable when it's the other way around. I'm supposed to prioritize making a ton of money and just pay for babysitters and more daycare and not be there for my kids. The narrative seems to be that men are resistant to equality and unlearning the toxic aspects of masculinity, and some very well are, but nobody seems to talk about the way women also reinforce toxic masculinity and gender roles. It's a very confusing time for men and our identities. Where do we go from here? Edit. I did above generalize all women in this comment and that wasn't my intention. In my experience, the women I've seriously dated have shown attitudes that were similar. It's not a fair statement. A lot of us just want love but we're deemed creepy if we're not conventionally attractive. I've seen guys with the biggest hearts get talked and laughed about because they asked a girl out and got rejected. The absolute crippling lack of equity when in court trying to get custody of the kids. The general lack of empathy or support. You can do it because you're a man. I'm drowning on all fronts here, just looking for anything to help. In more recent times I've been in a lot of meetings where I've seen people try to actively promote women, or only hire women, so that they aren't seen as sexist, and a lot of young men miss out on career developments purely because they are men. Anytime I've mentioned this to people they've said, good, men have been privileged for decades, they don't deserve anything. That might be the case with men from the boomer generation which had everything handed to them, but those aren't the men paying the price. It's these young men from younger generations that are getting all the blame and ill treatment for social politics they weren't even alive for. And literally no one gives a flying fuck about it. Being taught that having/expressing emotion is feminine and inherently bad. If you're broke, you ain't shit. Your status is your net worth. I'm going off the rails here a bit and say that I wish men had as many clothing choices as women do. I mean, when I see a woman in a light, airy summer dress on a hot day, I'm like, here I am in my jeans sweltering and she looks so comfortable. As a gay man, personally the worst part to me was feeling excluded from both gender groups if you didn't have any gay friends, which I rarely ever did. Girlfriends growing up only wanted to hang with other girls and would exclude me, and what very limited male friends I had distanced themselves from me instantly when rumors started about me because they didn't want to be judged as potentially being gay too. I wish I had straight male mates, and I wish I had female girlfriends who didn't make me feel like a purse, if you get what I mean. I'm just a guy and my sexuality is so little of who I am. Edit. I am so humbled and grateful for all the people offering their friendship after reading this. Red heart. Don't disregard your gay friends. They want to feel like one of the boys or the girls. 2. A lot of women always assume you're trying to hit on them. It is possible to have friends of the opposite sex. The amount of stereotypes and assumptions about us. Never being allowed to show emotion, we're expected to suffer in silence. The idea that, as a man, I am disproportionately responsible for the material existence of my family. In a very real way, the happiness of my family depends exclusively on my ability to engage in activities that I despise in order to earn enough money for my family's happiness. It results in this strange calculus which implies that if my family isn't happy, then I haven't traded in enough of my happiness for them, and this makes me a bad person and a failure as a provider. In a very real sense, my personal enjoyment of my existence is so superfluous that the possibility of my experience of joy quite literally threatens my manhood. I don't want to hustle. I don't want to buy a 4,000 SQ/foot home in the suburbs. I don't want a Mercedes. I don't want to monetize my hobbies. I don't want to sacrifice my time here for those things. I'm so fucking sick and tired and sacrificing myself for things that don't matter. My purpose in life feels so fucking transactional. I've been reduced to a hollow agent of capitalism because we have somehow conflated money with love. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed this video and subscribe to never miss an upload.